Hello, good morning. My name is Karolyna. Today I would like to explain the early 20th century labor movements in North America and also the impact of the Great Depression on their development. Focus on the years 20s and 30s. First of all, I would like to explain that the labor movement started around the Industrial Revolution, a time in the late 19th century when America exploded in size and wealth. Advances in technology created manufacturing jobs, but of course, it wasn't the workers getting rich, it was their bosses who racked in big profits by paying low wages for long hours. Industrial workers created unions to fight for better conditions. As you may know, unions are the backbone of labor movements. But what did they exactly accomplish? Well, the average American worked as much as 100 hours a week. Unions held strikes to demand shorter weeks and an 8-hour workday to make time for family relaxation. The most famous strike was the High Market Riots, which happened in Chicago on May 1st, 1886, with thousands of people taking to the streets and their voices only grew loud from there. The labor movement also protested child labor. In 1881, unions demanded that businesses stop hiring kids under 14, and slowly but surely, measures against child labor caught around the country. Eventually, all those protests got results. In 1938, Congress passed a law called the Fair Labor Standards Act, which set the 40-hour workweek, regulated child labor, and set the standards for minimum wage and overtime pay. In the 30s and 40s, workers were also able to negotiate health benefit plans from their employers. Now that I give you a little bit of feedback and context about what was happening in that time, I'm going to explain you the labor unions during the Great Depression and New Deal. In the early 30s, as the nation slid toward the depths of depression, the future of organized labor seemed terrifying. In 1933, the number of labor union members was around 3 million compared to 5 million a decade before. Most union members in 1933 belonged to skilled craft unions, most of which were affiliated with the American Federation of Labor, AFL. The union movement had failed in the previous 50 years to organize the number of laborers in such mass production industries. These were to be the major growth industries of the first half of the 20th century. Although the future of labor unions looked grim in 1933, their fortunes changed. The tremendous gains labor unions experienced in the 1930s resulted in part from the pro-union stance of the Roosevelt administration and from legislation enacted by Congress during the early New Deal. The National Industrial Recovery Act provided for collective bargaining. The 1935 National Labor Relations Act, also known as the Wagner Act, required businesses to bargain in good faith with any union support by the majority of their employees. Meanwhile, the Congress of Industrial Organization split from the AFL. The discontent of industrial workers, combined with New Deal collective bargaining legislation, at last brought the great mass production industries within a striking distance. When the craft unions stemmed at the ALF's organization efforts, John Lewis of the United Mine Workers and his followers broke away in 1935 and formed the Committee for Industrial Organization, CIO, which crucially aided the emerging unions in auto, rubber, steel, and other basic industries. In 1938, the CIO was formally established as the Congress of Industrial Organization. By the end of World War II, more than 12 million workers belonging to unions and collective bargaining had taken hold throughout the industrial economy. A short conclusion would be, as far as back as the Progressive era, organized labor have been drifting towards the Democratic Party, partly because of the latter's greater programmatic appeal, perhaps even more because of its ethnocultural basis of support within an increasingly new immigrant working class. But how the novel we are reading in class is related to all of this? Well, the best-known novel by John Steinbeck, published in 1939, was written in response to the worst economic crisis in American history. You are right, the Great Depression. The Great Depression was unusual in both its severity and its length. It evokes the harness of the Great Depression and arouses sympathy for the struggle of migrant farm workers. This is how this novel is related to all of this. If you want to know more about this topic, I really recommend you to watch this video, which is called Labor Comes of Age. Here are my references. Thank you so much for your attention.